Hello and welcome everybody. Let me start a little bit with the agenda, obviously. So this is what I want to start with. With this intro, I would like to continue in this first point. So how is it how AI differs compared to traditional search and non-AI tools? Just to give you a little bit sense, because I believe that once you understand a little bit how AI works in the background, it helps you to a little bit understand how to do better articles, how to work with it better, and how to utilize also our tools in product fruits better, right? And then second point, how to optimize your knowledge base. I'll give you very specific tips and tricks how to do it, and also some examples from practice and also from our knowledge base, and how to enhance user experience through analytics. So how you can use analytics to optimize a little bit more and kind of start a flywheel of improvement with the AI and with the knowledge base, because I know that you have quite large knowledge bases. So the question is where to start, right? So let's start with the first point. Uh, I'll not read it. You can go through this slide. But basically, those are main differences between the traditional search, like Google search or search within your application, and kind of AI search, which you can see also in our product as an AI search when you're typing a question towards our knowledge base and AI gives you a summary, right? The first search, the old traditional one, is a little bit more keyword based, right? So it doesn't understand the context. It's just searching and matching the keywords which finds in the relevant article. It's just one-off search. It doesn't have no context, and it's just a couple of separate results, and it's fairly static, right? Compared to the AI, it's more about the you ask the question and get the answer. I believe that a lot of you is familiar with ChatGPT. I guess that most of you are using it, almost daily. So when you ask the question, you get answer. It understands the content, the context. It understands the intent, and it gets the information, multiple information from multiple sources, and then just generate for you some coherent, response. So it's continuously also improved based on your feedback and your interactions. So as you can see, this approach is quite different, right? And to demonstrate how it is different, the next slide, which I'll show you, is a little bit maybe more technical, but I hope it will be still understandable. And I still believe that there is benefit of showing it even to those who are not that technical to better understand how AI actually works, right? So let me jump into that slide. It's this one. Um, you don't need to read everything what you see there. So even if there are small letters on the left side, don't bother with that. This is just I want to present you a little bit of context of how AI works. So on the left side, which you see there, that's this part. This is basically one article, right? And those red boxes is how AI kind of sees that. What AI actually does is that it kind of cluster this article to separate segments, and for each segment, it's trying to describe its meaning with some code. Okay, this is just example, so don't take me for the word. It doesn't exactly look like this, but just demonstration. So imagine that this is one article, and there's a lot of sections which AI is kind of parse it, which separates to, and each sections just represent its meaning. So it's not keyword, it's literally essence of that paragraph is described by this kind of code. Okay, and actually, if you're using already our AI search feature, your knowledge base and your articles are already described like that. So we're doing it automatically on the background. Okay, so once you update this article, we recalculate this. Okay, so this is done for each of your articles in our knowledge bases. Okay, and then there is a query when user writes. Okay, so for example, user writes how to install product fruits and how to install your product, or any question towards your knowledge base. And what it does, how the AI kind of search and copilot works, is that it generates this code, also the meaning of this sentence, also the code like this. And what's then happens is that basically we search the similarity of this code with those codes across all your knowledge base, right? So all articles, all these segments, we try to find out the most similar codes to this question, okay? So kind of most similar meanings, right? And once we find those, like for example, in this example, this one and that one, we will take those two paragraphs from this article, there can be many of them, together with your question, we put it together and send it to the LLM model, okay? And then the LLM model returns the response. It's very simplified, okay, but I hope it will like gives you a little bit general sense how it works. Okay, so in the backend, we by basically preparing a better understanding of meaning of your articles. Then we will create special codes from it. And then once user asks a question, we matching the most similar meaning articles and those put together and send it to the model to answer your question based on those articles, right? So again, later in a webinar, I hope you will understand the how this impacts how you should think about the basically the optimizing the articles in your knowledge base for this kind of scheme. So what are the general principles for optimization, for AI optimization of your content, of your knowledge base? Some very specific points, okay? The point is kind of a little bit, I hope that some of those are quite obvious already. It's like you need to center content on your user questions, okay? So it's when you're writing the articles, when you organize them, you need to think about it as a user asking the question, okay? So if the user asks question how to install something, how to achieve something, the article should be written in a way that directly answers that question, okay? You should also include FAQs, okay? So don't worry in the articles, right at the end, question, very paragraph answer to it, which is very concise. You should also use natural conversation language. Okay, so think about it again that the AI is your smart colleague. It's not machine, right? Because before AI, we were kind of forced to think like machines, right? Because it was keyword type. So you say, okay, I need this keyword like installation matching to my articles. But right now, you want the meaning to match the article. So don't worry to write the article really like for the humans and not for the machines and search engine optimizations. It's rather about if behind the computer sitting person who is very smart but doesn't understand your principle, your use case, your product, they should read the article in your knowledge base and know everything about it, even without prior kind of knowledge. That's the intent there. Okay. Of course, maintain continuous alignment with user needs. So I will show you later in the webinar how to kind of maintain continuous improvement there. And also kind of prioritize clarity over fluffiness, right? So again, when you're writing the knowledge-based articles, it shouldn't be like kind of writing a book. Okay, it should be a little bit to the point. It should be concise. It should be very informative, very actionable. So it's not about fluffy, nice words. It's not selling material. It's not marketing material in most cases. So go to the point and just don't use those fulfilling words which sounds great because AI will still again needs like go to the point, so get the information value from it. Then before example, then I'll show you examples. So don't worry. Also, those points just to mention, we will share it with you like after when we send the email after this session, you will also have the few pager, like 2-pager with those points. So you don't have to take print screens or anything. Okay. So just we will send it later on. So we can just focus on this now. So don't worry about it. So there are other points, other key principles, what to maintain the articles. So keep each article focused on a single topic. Okay, so this is crucial because very often, you have tendency to write an article and then cover as much as possible in it. But the truth is that each article should be focused on specific topic and didn't diverse that much. Again, it confuses the AI and the search optimization. Okay. Also organize articles with headings. Again, very clearly readable, etc. So as a human, you will also get lost if there will be no headings. A similar principle here, consolidate duplicates. Okay, so very often you can see that in the knowledge base, you can have articles which might be different, but in the certain paragraphs or certain parts of those articles, the same information but with different answer, or maybe a little bit competing answers which doesn't match together logically. They're kind of excluding each other. So that's again confusing for the AI because AI sometimes can match this paragraph, sometimes this one, and always present user a little bit different answer because you mentioning different answer. Okay, so that's the reason why you should really try to make sure that if you're speaking about certain topic, you speaking about this topic the same way everywhere, or there's just one place which is covering that. So very important point. And again, ensure answers restate the question context, right? So again, imagine in this, if you have a question and answer here, it should be in this one box. Okay, so there should be question and all answer or all context which needs to be to answer this question should be in this box. So it should be right next to that question. Okay. So there is some example. So this is bad example of article. Okay. This is just a print screen. And basically, as you can see, there is just a heading which contains a lot of topics. So again, mixed topics together. A description which again is not clear. So, if you just take a couple of seconds to read through it, you might find out that even you are not properly able to understand what this is about actually, right? What's the purpose of this article, right? Why it covers like 5 points. There's also a lot of repeating words like passwords and notifications, etc. Right? So simply enough, if you read it and you confused by it, the chance is AI will be also confused. So this is not the right way to do it, right? It's very confusing, not structured, not organized, many topics there, repeating kind of phrases and words, etc. Another bad example is this one, right? I hope that my tech support team will not be hateful to me, but this is actually our article. Okay, so just to demonstrate it, we are also not perfect and we are in the process of improvement. So this is actually how we started. We already improving that, but this is also not great, right? Why is not great? Again, you don't need to read through the specific text, but rather look at the structure. Okay, look at the structure there. It's a lot of headings, but very little context. Okay, so there's just a lot of headings on different topics. It's somehow related to installation, but then there are links to different pages. Okay, so if the AI, if somebody looks, I want, installation information, the AI will land and search this page and see this page. But on this page is very little context. Do you see? There's not that much text. There's not that much paragraph. There are just links to different pages. And what you should also realize is that those links which you see here, like this link to different page, this link to different page, so it's a little bit like wiki-like. Okay, so you have installation topic, but then the user goes to different pages. It's not great for AI. And the reason is that AI is actually not crawling this page. So AI is not go to this page and not clicking to those links. Okay, so AI is not clicking here. AI just sees this page, match this page because it's installation, it's heading number 1. So it's matching the intent of installation if you ask how to install product fruits. So it's matched this page, but it doesn't click through those links. So it sees only this one, which is very limited in information, isn't it? Right? So this is not great. The structure should be a little bit that if it's anything related to this topic like installation, it should be directly in this page. Okay. So it should be just directly here, okay, in this one page, just little links outside. Okay, so I'll give you a good example and then I'll just look at your questions because I bet there'll be some. So this is good example. Okay, so you can compare those a little bit by yourself, right? So there's a clear heading. All this page is dedicated just to this topic. There is no other topic. There is overview, okay, which could be, I believe, even longer. Okay, so don't worry, have even a paragraph or two. Okay, just to give you understanding what this page is about. Okay, imagine you land here on this page for the first time in your life. You don't know the application, you don't know nothing. And from this overview, just get sense what this page is about. Same for the AI. It will better understand if it's a right match or not. And then you get, again, why you might need this. Again, if user asks for those questions, for example, user ask, hey, I forgot my password. Then AI nicely matches this context with this article because it clearly states its purpose and the problem which is deal with. Okay, so it's a nice statement to covering the problems. And again, step-by-step guide how to do it. What is important and what you can see here is that there are no pictures, there are no videos. It's not a problem to have here a picture or video, but AI is right now, for example, in product fruits, we're not able to scrape information from picture itself, but it's not far away. It's technically possible and we will implement it. But for example, from video, it's quite challenging. So Add here videos, add here pictures, add here tables, but don't forget to add here those structured textual inputs and information. Those are the most readable for AI. So don't forget those. Just add pictures, that's fine, but still have it here, still have it described. Also, it's good accessibility practice, but have it there. So the text is important. Don't put everything to pictures. Okay. And again, additional tips and some summary key takeaways. As you can see, it's not better just for AI, it's better also for you. So simply enough, if it's better for you, it will be most probably also better for AI. So maybe here I would pause and maybe ask Dana if she can mention a couple of repeating questions which you have, because I unfortunately didn't have time to check the chat. But Dana, is there any questions?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Hi, Martin. I think that we are pretty good with Adam and Megan to respond to questions. But there is, for example, the two last ones. Would it make sense to post a video with a transcript? The question from Katia. It's related to what you have just said, that AI is not good enough with video, for example.
Yes, that's true. Like AI, I'm using the transcripts of video as well, even for my workflow, to be honest. So AI is pretty good with the transcript. However, in the transcript, there might be a lot of irrelevant information. So it's much more easier, if it's possible, to kind of summarize that video in points to that article. So to answer your question, how I would do it is to take the transcript, use the AI like ChatGPT to generate key learnings from that video, and just take what the ChatGPT generated and add it to the article there. That's how I would do it.
And there is one more from Alison. Hi, Alison. Nice to see you here again.
Listen.
So if we're going to add a video at the end of the article, it would be included in the AI reply, for example.
Yes, so it could be. So that would be definitely a enhancement we want to do. So at this moment, for example, in our implementation, no. In the future, yes, because the AI can format the output and can take, for example, the link to that video and paste it to the response as well. So short answer is not in the initial release. Later, yes, it can also paste their pictures, for example. But yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, there is one more question from Robina. I'm not sure how keywords help on this, because we also include keywords in articles. Yeah.
No, thank you very much for this question. Keywords are a challenge, and the reason why is that very simply, I'll just skim through that, because I know that a lot of you guys has a use case when you use a keywords and knowledge base quite a lot. So let me get back to it. Yeah, the problem is hidden here. So on the left side here, the problem there is that by nature, the keywords doesn't have very strong meaning in sense of, for example, giving essence of the meaning of this paragraph, generating essence of the shortcut like LRB, in our case, like live ring button. It's very hard, because simply if you say, hey, AI, what is LRB, without any other context, it simply has no way to know. Okay, so simply put, the keywords for this kind of search are kind of puzzle, are not ideal, because the search works on a meaning, and getting meaning with short word is very hard. So what we're working on, it's not implemented yet, but we will implement it in AI Copilot, is that we need to combine, simply enough, old and new way. So simply put, we will perform two searches actually. So one will be keyword search, the old one, just the matching the keywords, not smart one, not AI powered. We will get the results, and then we will do this search, which you see in front of you, and we will combine results and put it to AI model. So then we will fix it. Now it's not fully supported like that. I know that you have those use cases, so we're working on kind of optimization like that. But that's the reason why it's not simple fix for us. Exactly this. You cannot just improve the AI search here to better reflect keywords simply because the nature of it, it's kind of against it. What you can do as a workaround is that if you have very important paragraph, you can include the keywords to the paragraph there itself. or maybe synonyms directly to it, but I understand it's not sustainable, right? If you have large knowledge base, it's very hard to go through that and put it everywhere, right? So it's kind of short workaround for very important use cases if you have, but long term, we're working on this combination of the searches. So it will be there. Just give us, few more weeks to combine those two together, because really just this will not help that much with that. So let's continue. This is like a little bit go deeper to formatting, right? So how you would format um, the text. I think a couple of topics I already touched a little bit, right? So clear headings, short to the point paragraphs, bullet points, plain text over tables and images. Again, there can be tables, there can be images, but don't forget to add their text as well, okay? And consistent terminology, right? Because the problem here is that AI is again very closer to human than machine in certain sense. What does it mean is that if you ask somebody in your team to do something, they'll never do it the same twice next to each other, right? So if you ask some of your colleague or teammate, hey, can you do this for me? And then you ask them next day for the same thing, they'll most probably do it a little bit differently. That's the same with the AI. The result can be always great, but will be always a little bit different. And that's the reason why this consistent terminology is important. Why? Is because when you ask the question or your users ask the question, they can always match slightly different paragraphs on articles. Okay, because you can have articles which are semantically very similar to the question. So, for example, it can list 5 paragraphs from 5 different articles, or even articles which are very close to each other. And if one of those articles, there is some information which is contradictory into another, it's very hard for the AI to understand what's true, right? Like, because it would be hard even for human, right? Because if you in one say you explain something completely differently and in other as well, where is the truth, right? So it seems like a problem, and it is, but it would be the same with a human, right? So that's, please don't forget to try to be consistent, have some kind of dictionary and a consistent terminology, synonyms, all right? So AI but understand what's actually the same, right? If you use a different terms for it, especially if your specific domain jargon. If you, for example, from for healthcare, etc., everywhere is a specific jargon and specific topics. So don't forget that. It's very important, because otherwise it's get for AI also very confusing. Uh, again, very similar to this, logical categories, hierarchies, descriptive titles, right? Again, I would accent that again is like your knowledge base should not be kind of marketing material if you don't have some specific case for it. So don't focus that much about selling something or some content. Focus about title should be really to the point of what the article contains, right? So it's not confusing for AI and can something to catch on. Same with the description, as I mentioned before, synonyms. Again, exclude irrelevant and redundant content, right? Uh, what we will do in the future is that, as you see, the quality of the knowledge base is very important, right? It's if it's not good enough, if there are errors, AI will get also, of course, not ideal answers to your customers and to you as well, right? So that's very crucial. So over time, once we release those initial tool set and some basic analytics, I'll show you in a minute. We will work on improving analytics for you to help you to again continuously improve your knowledge base, right? Because to point you on a direction what to improve, where, and a little bit how. Because I understand that you have vastness of the articles, so it's very hard to orient in it. We will get to it later. So it's very important. Yeah, so we're getting to the analytics kind of topic. Right now, I will not read of those. Please feel free to read the slide. But what I want to mention is that I just showed you some basic principles, and I think core principles, to be honest, where to start with optimizing your articles and how to structure it. Now, the question is, of course, quite good question is where to start, right? Because I understand that you have some kind of as everybody, limitation of the cost, time, and resources. So you cannot start rewriting your knowledge base, one by one, right? That's understandable, especially if you have a very large knowledge base. So the question is where to start. And as everything with the AI, it's, I believe, quite logical when you look at it. So what you need to do is that focus on those articles or queries which are searched the most and has the poorest reviews and has the poorest quality of response, right? So simply enough, and I'll show it to you how we plan to do it initially in our AI Copilot. But again, we consistently iterate on this because, to be fairly honest, the continuous improvement in AI world and search is, I believe, absolutely crucial, even more than in the previous searches, because it's much more dynamic and it's much more fluent. It's not deterministic. So simply enough, so simply guide to that is identify the most asked questions of your users, your clients, then see the reviews. Are they good? Are they bad? And then optimize the articles and sources which are used to answer those questions. Yeah, so for example, if a user asks how to install product fruits in our case or in our product, you will just see that it was the most searched term. You should focus on it. If it was poorly reviewed, even more so. And then you can click on that. I'll show it to you UI and optimize the structure, what I just showed you, for the articles which were used to generate that response. That's like the most logical way to start, right? Like where to start, like this. I'll show you how it looks like in our analytics, but what I will not like forget to mention is that analytics and those data sources are not only source of this, right? You should speak with your tech support team, with your human support level, and even if they're using some kind of chat, for example, normal chat like the we using Crisp, so you can go to those Crisp conversations, look at the most common queries, and literally copy paste those user queries to the chatbot and see how it replies, right? This is, for example, what I'm doing as well. Okay, so just go there, human like interactions, how the users asks, what they ask for, even ask your team, collect those queries and prove them. Just go to that, test it, search it, see what the result is. If the result was not good enough, look at the sources which were taken to that generating that response and start to work on them, and then compare if this is changes over time, or use your feedback from your customer success manager, simply enough, anybody who is interacting with your clients, to see what are the most common queries. Also, what I would like to accent is that don't worry to copy paste exact phrasing, okay? Because some users can ask install and some users can ask how to install. It seems similar, but it can get a little bit different responses. So be very specific on those phrasing and how users asks. Before I'll just open up to the questions, I'll just show you. Hopefully it will work. The AI Copilot, this basic analytics we're introducing there. That's this. So this is our testing environment. There's analyze section. There's a help. There's a Copilot. And what you will see there is simply enough list of conversations, right? This is test ones, obviously, but each title is basically title of conversation with the AI, when it happened, and if there are any upvotes and downvotes from the clients, from the users, and if the conversation was helpful or not, because user can mark the conversation with Copilot if it helped him or not. So if you can filter it also, of course, based on the upvotes and downvotes. So let's filter the conversation with downvotes. There's 9, there's 8. Again, this is testing. So you can click on that and you see that there's like there's this conversation title, when it happened, 9 downvotes. You click on it, you see the feedback from users, because when they negatively annotate something, they can also add some wording. And you can also look on a conversation itself, and you can see what was the question answer, and you can see what was exactly downvoted. Okay, so you see which one downvoted. And once you click on this, you can see which sources, which your knowledge base articles, or later on, you can also add to Copilot external sources. So not just our knowledge base, it will be in the pilot already. So it's there. And you can see what's going inside it, meaning that you read the question, read the answer, and say, yeah, this is not good. And this is the articles which went to it. So you start to optimize those articles to that query. for example. It can be the case, right? So, but this is just beginning for us. What are the next stages we want to take this analytics further are basically two, right? The main ones which we want to focus immediately. So first one, we will help you to group the conversations to logical groups. Okay, because some of them are basically the same. Look at those two. How tour differs compared to hints, and what is difference between tours and hints. Those are basically same questions, aren't they? So what we will do in the next version of this analytics is that we will group them for you, and you will see them in one topic, and then you can drill down a little bit. So it's and even numbers will be clumped together, so it can better help you to aggregate. And the second one which we're working on is that users, not that often using upvotes and downvotes, right? So we will do automated self-evaluation mechanism when the AI evaluate itself how confident it is with the answer. Right. So you will see the conversations when the AI was not good enough from the point of view of AI. So it didn't have a good resources. The answer was weird or very uncertain, etc. So those are two big improvements we are working on right after. We're already working on it, but it won't be yet in the pilot version. But this is like immediate, which is in our pipeline to bring you closer to this, as I mentioned, point where you can, fine tune this even further and much more simpler even, right? And so this is basically what I wanted to show you. Now I would just maybe open the questions, I believe. So Dana, if you can.
Yes,
Once more.
yes, Martin. Thank you. We have one more from Iman. Please, could you clarify what you mean by ensuring answers restate the question context?
Yeah. Yes. So what does it mean is basically when you have, for example, a FAQ section, you very often have their question and an answer. But very often when you write those sections, in that answer, you already assume that the reader has some context from that page. So idea of that means is that if you have some question and answer, that answer should be broader. It should also contain some broader context of that question. So it shouldn't be just, can this be done? Yes or no? And answer is, yes. It should be, can this be done? And it's a, in case of this feature, which is this and that, yes, it can be done under condition XY, etc. So be broader. Just assume that reader finds just that the question and then answer, not the whole page. So that's the idea. This is kind of like the strategy for continuous content optimization, right? Which I believe it's kind of emerged from all the what we discussed today. So you should get like regular content audits, right? So to make sure that as I showed you this basic analytics, even that is fairly helpful, right? It gets you started where it is. You can analyze the conversation. You can analyze your test conversations. You can also, test the Copilot, but also the AI search and try to iterate there and see if there is improvement. So just always regularly manage the content, flag it for review, and try to update the most read articles and upvoted and downvoted articles. Prioritize high impact areas, as I mentioned, very important. Just see what's the most searched and optimize for that to start with, and just go down with the funnel. Establish ongoing feedback loops. Again, there could be monthly reviews of AI content and performance. It doesn't be just from analytics. As I mentioned, feel free to include more team members because as the AI Copilot will come, it doesn't have to be used just by tech support, right? It can be used by sales department, by learning department. So your knowledge base is actually starting, I believe, can grow. And the use case for it is grows as well, because it's not just a tech support in cases, right? It can cover multiple use cases for multiple departments. So bring them on as well and, review with them, etc. So again, the knowledge base right now with the AI tools generally stops being just a knowledge base. Think about it. It's really just the core of description of your business and what you do. And then later on, as we also preparing more and more AI features, not just Copilot, but also the Jess I presented last time, we will benefit from it as well. So actually with those efforts of improving knowledge base, it's not just for the AI Copilot, it's for the survey Copilot, which is coming actually tomorrow to the early access. It will be also for this Jess completely new way how to do digital adoption, right? it will benefit from it. We will use it as a source of information as well, right? So it's like it's very the importance with the AI is much more elevated for the knowledge base. So knowledge base right now it's really much more important than it been, right? Also, as I mentioned here, assign ownership. So make sure that there are clear owners of the quality of the different sections of the knowledge base. Could be different departments, as I mentioned, depends on the content. Stay, of course, current with our AI updates. In our case, we will be, there's more and more AI things coming in and AI powered features, which all leverage the good knowledge bases you'll have. So again, it will elevate and upscale what you do to usefulness of that, and let's say ROI, return of investment of this knowledge bases to maximize the benefits, right? Document best practices. That's always good. Like some style guide, basically two-pager I'll send you. You can use it to basically in your internal teams to kind of propagate best practice. It's always good, especially if you have large teams, right? And future-proof the knowledge base. So keep the clarity forefront emerging technologies, right? So for the AI, once you keep it in line, it will bring you benefits in the future a lot, right? So also what I didn't forget, what I want to mention is that as you saw how AI search works, it should be also clear that AI just magically doesn't know everything about your company, which is also benefit because it cannot tell anything like secret about your company which you don't want to, right? So if you don't add anything to the knowledge base, or you not add there what shouldn't be there, it won't be surface. It won't be shared with any model. It won't be shared with end users. AI will not know about it. And even if you later say, okay, I would like AI to not know about this article, in our UI, in our products, you can always turn it off for given even page or even given one article. So there is a toggle literally which says don't use that article. So AI will not know about it, any models and users also. So you always stay on top of the security, right? So it will be always built in for all of our products.